The Merseyside Derby is one of the most historic and significant in the history of football as a whole, stemming back to the first ever clash between the two sides on the 13th of October 1894 and building to the forthcoming match this Saturday, which will be the 298th meeting between Liverpool and Everton and the 67th time in which they've both met in the Premier League during its 33-year existence. And in that 33-year existence, there have been a total of 89 goals scored by Liverpool, and I've given myself the task today of picking just 10 of them for this list, which is difficult, but it's not impossible. Today we're going to go beyond the Kop and look at Liverpool's top 10 best ever Merseyside Derby goals in the Premier League era. Make sure to click like and subscribe and comment down below what goals you think have missed and what your personal favourite is. Now, just a bit of quick admin for this video. This is purely Premier League, as I've already mentioned, but another thing to consider for this list is that it isn't simply about which goals look the best and require the highest level of skill and technical ability. Some of them are on this list because of the circumstances surrounding the goal itself, the manner in which the goal was scored, and also the implications it had on the season at the time. Sometimes the mitigating circumstances, the aura around a particular goal and the meaning behind it can make what would be an average goal into an all-time great and standout moment in this fixture. Number 10, John Arne-Riise, the 15th of September 2001. John Arne-Riise has a goal-scoring catalogue that any striker on earth would be proud to have, and while most people remember the incredible free kick against Man United or the goal against Birmingham City, which was so good that the rival fans actually stood up and applauded him, that doesn't completely sum him up as a player. For me, this goal is not spoken about anywhere near as much as it should be. While Riise is best known for being able to kick a ball so hard it registers on the Richter scale, he was also someone who was silky on the ball and could show composure in key moments, like when we played Everton at Goodison Park on the 15th of September 2001, a match which we'll soon be revisiting. Riise picks the ball inside his own half, running at the Everton backline before going up against Steve Watson on the half turn. Seeing this, Riise, the clearly more intelligent of the two, shifts the ball into his right before knocking it one way around Watson while he goes the other, completely taking him out of the match. And all of this is before he even slots the ball past Gerrard in goal. This may not grab headlines and may be lost in and amongst the multitude of different Derby goals, and Riise's goals for that matter, but for me, this is an underrated Derby goal that does not get the appreciation that it deserves, plain and simple. Number 9, Divock Origi, the 4th of December 2019. Now, on our quest to break the deadlock, which was us winning a league title for the first time since 1990, Liverpool faced Everton, an Everton team which at the time was really going through poor form, having won just 2 of their previous 12 matches during the tenure of Marco Silva. Now, this was also the fixture which saw us put 5 past the Toffees on the day, the third of which was this absolute beauty from Divock Origi, and trust me, you'll be hearing from this man on the list again. After seeing the ball put over the top from the best thing to keep a seat warm since the invention of the blanket, Divock Origi showcases true quality by bringing the ball down with the outside of his right foot, setting it up perfectly for the Belgian to turn his body and dink it straight over the head of Jordan Pickford and into the back of the net. And all of this took place 10 minutes after Everton thought they were back in the match following a Michael Keane goal. Beautiful stuff. Number 8, Daniel Sturridge, the 28th of January 2014. In a very similar vein to Divock Origi's goal, this sees another talented Liverpool striker finding himself in behind from a long ball and seeing the Everton goalkeeper sprinting towards him. As a season, 2013-14, despite its shortcomings in the end, lives in Red's folklore because it gave us monumental victories like the one that we produced on the 28th of January 2014, with the third of the 4 goals we scored against Roberto Martinez's Everton side being a wonderful showcase of the talent that Daniel Sturridge possessed, and showing to everyone just how much of a true goal scorer he was when he was able to stay fully fit. The chip is wonderful to say the least, with the other half of the SAS taking one look over his shoulder at the ball before gently dinking it over the head of Tim Howard from outside the box. And to this day, I can't look at this goal and think anything other than it's going wide. The way it sort of curls towards the goal midair, the way it doesn't even bounce into the goal, landing perfectly under the crossbar and into the towel that's hanging on the edge of the goal's net. It just stands out in my memory so vividly, and yeah, this goal is gorgeous to see time and time again. At number 7, I've gone for Sadio Mane on the 19th of December 2016. Sometimes the moment takes precedence over the quality of the goal itself. The circumstances, the story and impact that goal has takes centre stage as opposed to the technical ability required to put the ball in the back of the net. And there are few examples better in the Merseyside Derby than when we made the short trip to Goodison Park on the 19th of December 2016. Liverpool were in a sustained push for the top 4, having won all but 6 matches of their opening 16 at the time, but that didn't mean that this was going to be an easy Merseyside derby for us, as Everton was showing signs of improvement and progression under Ronald Koeman at that point, and we're about to go on a 9-match unbeaten run, with us being the final defeat before it. The match was pretty poor from a Liverpool perspective as we struggled to break down Everton's stubborn back line, but all it took was one quick moment when Daniel Sturridge hit the post from a weak misplaced shot in the 94th minute, which bounced perfectly into the path of the oncoming Sadio Mane, who was so quick to react to the ricochet off the woodwork before slotting it straight past the keeper and breaking the heart of everyone who last saw their team lift the trophy in 1995. Everything about this is glorious. The quick burst of acceleration from Mane to beat 2 defenders, the celebration towards the fans in the away end, the flair thrown onto the pitch, shrouding the players and perfectly representing the euphoria felt at that moment. The moment where Sadio Mane truly endeared himself to a Liverpool fan base. The goal itself was pretty average, but for the moment and circumstance surrounding it, there's few better. Number 6, I've gone for Danny Murphy from the 19th of April 2003. It's simply beautiful, this goal from Danny Murphy, who silenced the entirety of Goodison Park with a finish that Ian Rush himself would have been proud of. After Everton levelled in the 58th minute through a David Unsworth penalty, which seems to set things off, things got very volatile very quick, and there were already 7 yellow cards given out by that point, and the Everton fan base creating a beyond hostile atmosphere at the time. So after the equaliser, we feared the worst for about 5 minutes before Danny Murphy, after picking up the ball from a tackle, Didi Hamann took a touch and slotted the ball perfectly into the top corner of the Everton goal from about 35 yards out, with it hitting the post and securing Liverpool's second and eventually the 3 points. The goal itself is technically spot on, expertly placed, and gave Richard Wright absolutely no chance of making the save. That's how brilliantly picked out the top corner was by Danny Murphy. At number 5, I've gone for Harry Kewell from the 25th of March 2006. Now, you've got to feel for Harry Kewell and his ill-fated injury-hit stint at Liverpool, going off injured in the 2005 Champions League final, going off injured in the 2006 FA Cup final, and getting to the stage where every time he started to go through a career renaissance, like in 2007 and 2008, he would be cut down in his tracks by the cruel mistress known as physical fitness. But during the 2005-06 season, he went through arguably his best spell during his years on Merseyside, with this goal against Everton standing out as a bright reminder of just what the Australian icon was capable of. It's your typical Liverpool dicking Everton up and down the pitch thanks to goals from Luis Garcia and an own goal from Phil Neville, before Harry Kewell receives the ball from Steve Finnan and decided to put the Blues 6 feet down under with this stunning left-footed powerful effort into the top corner of the net, which secured the 3-point at Anfield and sent the fan base into a frenzy. At number 4, Divock Origi, the 2nd of December 2018. Like I said at the start of the video, it's not all about the quality of the goal, because if it was, you could pretty much guarantee this wouldn't even be on the list. But as a moment of true euphoria, there are few Merseyside Derby moments as a whole that could top Divock Origi making Jordan Pickford look like an absolute fool at Anfield in the 96th minute in circumstances that honestly could only be explained by a conspiracy theorist. So during the 2018-19 season, Liverpool are trying to keep up the pace with Man City at a time where any points drop, no matter the circumstances, no matter what's going on, felt like a defeat. So when we're heading into the final moments of the match and saw Van Dijk absolutely alley-oop the ball right into the air in an attempt just to put it a goal, with the defender himself even throwing his arms up in the air in frustration, we thought naturally that the match was over. We dropped 2 more points, and that is before This Is England decided to not let the ball out, but instead reach up, keep the ball in, and knock it straight into the path of Divock Origi. And honestly, we lost our absolute minds. Everything about this was amazing, and Everton mistaking the final seconds of the match, which was so exciting and euphoric that Jurgen Klopp himself couldn't help but run onto the pitch, fist pumping the air and jumping into Alisson's arms. It's a thing of sheer beauty and legend that's going to live in Merseyside folklore forever. Number 3, I've gone for Luis Suarez from the 23rd of November 2013. Now, it's a bit of a personal preference, this one, I know, but I'll be damned if it isn't making it onto the list. Luis Suarez can be credited with scoring a good number of goals against Everton. The famous one at Goodison Park, which saw him dive right in front of David Moyes, was iconic. The one at the reverse fixture at Anfield with 2 defenders squeezing him together like a tube of toothpaste, and the FA Cup semi-final, of course. They were all great choices and great moments, but if we're talking about just the Premier League, I can't not include this absolute masterclass in threading the ball through the eye of a needle. Just everything about this free kick is perfect. The last minute details, the way it curls perfectly around the main wall with enough power that it beats Tim Howard. The fact that even though Steven Pienaar is throwing himself right at the ball itself goes through the smallest gap imaginable to be able to work its way into the net. Suarez planned that technique perfectly, and for me, it needs mentioning on this list. For number 2, I've gone for Steven Gerrard from the 15th of September 2001, and honestly, you could take your pick from Gerrard's library of goals against Everton, and I don't think there's going to be many people who complain. The chip in 2012, the header in 2013, but sometimes your first is your most memorable, and in the case of Steven Gerrard, it came in the form of an absolute rocket right into the top corner of Everton's net, which was followed by one of the all-time greatest Liverpool celebrations. Watching Gerrard sprint down the touchline, cupping his ear to the Everton fanbase who've been giving him so much shit, it would have made Simeone's head explode after scoring this goal in the 11th minute. It's pure poetry. The way he shimmies to the right hand side despite being squared up to by the defender, the way he uses explosive pace to get that extra yard ahead of him, giving him just enough time to set himself and blast it straight into the opposite corner, is a technical masterclass which honestly is sorely missing in today's game. Sometimes the best option is just to shoot, and sometimes you get moments like this because of it. And number 1, it's Gary McAllister from the 16th of April 2001. That it was always going to be this. There was never going to exist any kind of list about this topic that didn't include not only one of the most memorable Merseyside Derby goals ever, but one of the most historic Premier League goals ever. Gary McAllister, a player signed to give some extra depth and experience in the middle for Liverpool, being the only player in that squad over the age of 30, not only starting in the Merseyside Derby and going the full 90 minutes, but stepping up and scoring one of the greatest free kicks in top flight history from 40 yards out is nothing short of iconic. Seeing Gerard Houllier grinning from ear to ear while Liverpool players and the fan base are sent into absolute delirium is one of the most defining moments in the Premier League as a whole. This moment will live in our folklore forever, and if it wasn't number 1 on this list, then the whole list would have been null and void. Let's just be completely honest.